You're listening to Siris Says podcast. Join us as we transcend cultural barriers and elevate diverse voices. Here, we inspire, inform, and empower one story at a time. Let's dive in. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Siris Says. If you're a new listener, welcome. And if you are a returning listener, awesome. So today I have this really close friend. She's amazing, an incredible event planner, always inspired by her decorations, and I get to be so lucky to record with her just around Halloween time, which is why you guys will see in the video that we have a lot of beautiful decorations, and it's a testament to how great she is at her actual
Aw.
job, which is great. So I'd like to introduce you to Jennifer Villalpando.
Hi guys and welcome. My name's Jennifer Villalpando and I am an event coordinator and I do commercial events for many in the industry and private events as well. And over 25 years, I have with throwing parties. Who doesn't love having a party? I think it's just in my nature, to want to just have that hospitality and fun, and I get to share it with Cyrus today and you guys. So thank you. Thank you, Cyrus, for having
Thank
me.
you. Appreciate you. So Jen, talking about this, when did it start for you that you knew you wanted to do this?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I always, since I was a little girl, loved having parties and entertaining. And it's just kind of, I think, a cultural thing for me too, because I mean, my family, we always like, having a party, celebration. And so I always loved like the feeling I had when we would go to family gatherings. It was just, it spoke to me, like it's love, it's food, it's music, it's dancing, Yeah, I just always had like little parties with my Barbies, having tea parties or whatever. And I always love like celebrating occasions. It's very important, to me.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Very early on, you knew what you wanted to do. That's great.
Yeah, I did. I always just liked having parties, and I actually didn't realize that I can actually do that for a living. So it was always like I'd volunteer to, at the school functions for my children to help and participate and anything I can get, just exposure to learning things and sharing and being creative. I was like the first one to like volunteer.
Oh,
So
I
yeah.
love that. So do you remember what was an event that means something very special to you because it taught you something that it was like at that moment you were like, wow, this could really, I could see myself doing this forever, so to speak.
Wow, gosh, there was many events that I've had that were just kind of just transforming to me because I learned from my clients, from being resourceful, thinking out of the box. But I do have to share like one of the most important events that I did was a bride came to me and it was at the beginning of 2019. And we were planning, of course, for a year in advance for her big wedding. It was her high school sweetheart. They've been together for like, I think it was 15 years.
Oh, precious.
And it was October of 2020 was her date of her wedding. And
you remember with
I
great detail.
remember, and reason why it's because we had COVID that came in, at the beginning of 2020.
Yes.
And so it was just a very meaningful event for me because she was like, this is the date I want, 10/10/2020, and she's big Italian wedding and she was devastated, And so it just, not only are you, that vendor that you're working with them in collaboration, but there's also the human element, which is very important because I was like, I want to still make your vision come true, and there was no vendors, things were closed down, but we made it work. And it was beautiful.
You pulled it off.
We pulled it off, and we turned it into like a micro wedding, which it was just immediate family. We did it at home in her backyard. And she was like, I can't see the vision. I can't see the vision. Trust me. And we made it happen. And that was just like, was beautiful because you're able to kind of help navigate through the unknown, right?
Through the unknown, yes.
And what was really unknown for us back then.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also, like, that's one of the most special days for most ladies out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some husbands too. Some husbands more into it than the bride.
And not only that, the families, like, I'm a mother, so it's like for, my dreams too of my daughter's wedding or my son's wedding, because her parents were very invested, the family was very invested, and they had waited all this time, and
Yeah.
so yeah, so
Yeah.
that's one of my most memorable,
Thank you for sharing. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
events.
Okay, switching a little bit gears, I want you to share with our audience like your background and culture, because you were talking about your culture earlier and how it was, event and planning and all of these things are very much part of your culture. So what's your culture and
Yeah, so I'm Mexican American, and I'm actually the third generation here. My parents were born here, my grandparents were born here, and then my great grandparents immigrated here. But it was still passed along throughout the generations of what the American dream was. And it didn't lose that driving force by the
mm-hmm.
time I arrived, being the first great great grandchild, and just very instilled in me to work hard. My grandparents, they always set a precedent of you work, you save, and I am their dream, right?
Yeah.
That's what they came here to this country for. I'm living it, I'm walking it, and it's just very important for me to continue to respectfully pursue success in all aspects. That's just a little bit about family, and celebration was always like number one in our lives,
Yeah.
celebrating birthday parties, celebrating Sundays, celebrating everybody getting together, because in my culture it's about family, and there's nothing more important
Yeah.
than that.
Any opportunity to have a party.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's just, I always seen and wanted to be a part of that energy. They're making the tamales in the kitchen. The men are in the backyard, like putting up the tables and chairs. So it was just like an energy that I loved, because it's always, you're having a good time,
Yeah, no. Thank you for
Yeah.
that's great. I met you during COVID, fun fact.
Yes.
And it was hectic times. We were doing some groundbreaking things in our work. I don't want to go too in depth of the company, but I do have to say when I met you, you were actually also were reinventing yourself in a way, because you were actually not working with event planning. You were shifting gears into procurement at the time. So how do you took on this new challenge, which you are somebody who wants to serve, and then COVID came along?
It's funny because I was like being in the event industry, multimedia outlets, globally that we have in deep, without mentioning any names. So I started to kind of second guess myself, like, what am I doing for like humanity? What am I doing for my purpose? Am I really serving that heart of service that I wear, on my sleeve? And I thought, what am I doing? Like, how am I really contributing? Like, is there more? COVID happened,
Yeah.
And so it just, put a stop, obviously, to not only the entertainment industry, but, event industry. So I was really shook. The rug was pulled out right from underneath me. And I did multiple events. So it was always, I thrive on, that multitasking, and
Yeah.
I'm an Aries, so I'm fires burning, give me more, let's do this,
Pressure, under pressure, you do great.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I struggled. It was, what do I do and where do I go? But I do have like a background in procurement, and part of like the industry is also procuring. You're procuring your vendors, your staff, your decor, your food and beverage. So when the opportunity came a few months after I was furloughed from, the industry, I thought, okay, this is where my heart wish, is to serve our state, our community.
Yes.
And it was just very fulfilling. At first, it was a little bit scary, especially for my family, because they're like, what do you mean you're going to a COVID laboratory? Like, there's COVID there. We didn't know what it was, right?
Right. You're approaching it head on, the one thing everybody's running away or hiding from at the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We were, doors locked, masks on, avoiding places. And here you and I were literally walking into the fire.
Yeah.
I don't even think we even thought about it that way. We just knew we needed to do it.
Yes, I think it was like we had a purpose, which was to help the community, and even if it meant risking ourselves, we understood the risk, and we were like, we're still willing to do this. Somebody has to do it, essentially. And so you are putting with that question of like, am I okay with the risk? and you understand, hey, somebody has to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
do I rise to the occasion? We're working
Right,
during this time.
absolutely.
So it was very different. And
Absolutely.
it's crazy because people always talk about, like, COVID was insane, we were stuck at home. It wasn't our journey. Our journey was very different during that time. So the
Mm-hmm.
way most people perceive COVID is very different to the way I perceive COVID, because I was so busy working.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was life-changing, I think, for all of us that came in to work
Yes.
together. We didn't know what challenges we were coming up against. I mean, procurement, you're trying to navigate through a global pandemic, and the world was literally shut down.
Yeah.
And a lot of pressure,
Yes.
but also a lot of pride that I know
Mhm.
each and every one of us took in. Our work at that time was just
Yeah.
like, all hands on deck and let's just
Yeah.
do it.
No, it was definitely great. It goes to show your bravery
Yeah.
coming into this experience.
But
Yeah.
it's like we had to be done, like you rise, like you said, to the occasion of humanity. Once again, it goes back to that heart of service, for our community, for our state. I mean, it was just you wanted to do your due diligence and help in any way possible. We didn't know how long it was going to take. We didn't know what it was, and
Yes.
we had no idea. But what we share during our COVID experience is like no other.
Right.
That's a little bit about us.
Yeah. The how we met.
How we
Yeah.
met.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and take a short break for a sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Today's episode is sponsored by RenovateMagicHub.com, your guide to transforming your home. Whether you're updating a room or planning a full makeover, Renovate Magic Hub provides tailored product suggestions to suit your style and budget. Visit RenovateMagicHub.com for inspiring and practical tips to create a space you'll love.
Alright guys, we're right back into the episode. Okay, Jen, so I have a couple more questions. We'll focus a little bit more on that event planning that you're talking about. So there's people out there like me who, it's just recently that I got a little bit more interested in learning how do you go about it, right?
It's like coordinating. Like, where do you start? And I always say, like, you start with a vision. And, like, I always tell everybody that I work with, give me your wish list. What is your wish list? I want to know and hear it all. So that's where we start. And I think that's where anybody should start at home is, of course, a vision. Like, what do you want to convey? Because an event is not only like festivities and decorations, but what stands out more is what you take away, the feeling of an event. You want it to be an experience. You want to be like every sense that you have is being like you're engaged, it's like on fire. Like I see things with my eyes, I hear things. The lighting is so important, the aroma, like the sounds, like it's
so
like
true.
Yeah,
it's like a memory. What kind of memory you
absolutely.
want to create?
It's a core memory. Like an event is like a core memory, everyone, for me at least, because I want people to walk away and say, oh my God, I feel amazing. Like I feel so charged. Or I want to see everybody with their cameras out, before they eat, because presentation is art. Life is art. Art is life. I mean, it's just, yeah. So I think just starting off with the vision.
The vision
Of what you want to convey.
So you guys heard her.
A
Number
vision. One.
I didn't even think about it that way. I always thought like the color or like it had to be something specific, but that's so beautiful. Like you're saying, like it's actually the vision. What do you want to convey? That's so important. I love that.
That's like number one.
Yeah,
Then
awesome.
all the other pieces will fall together,
Fall together.
So it's just, you want to just have intention. What's your intention for your event, for your guests?
You know how to help people like budget for events?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. There's things that you and I thrive on that because I grew up and we didn't always have everything, and it was like that's where my creative juices are. Like, how can I make this happen? You want to be resourceful. So that to me is like a fun part, the budget.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you exactly what you want, and we'll figure it out together. And nowadays, like it's so easy, like with Facebook Marketplace. Like people have events and then they have tons of decor and they're like, what do I do? I can't store this anymore. I need to liquidate it, get rid of it. And like look to see what's out there. It's like repurposing. I love to repurpose because it's like, once again, you're being eco-friendly
Eco-friendly.
and sustainable. Like, it's so important. And then it helps the budget, you know?
That's true, yeah.
So then you can splurge maybe somewhere else on your outfit or whatever.
Oh, I love
But
that. Yeah. I think a lot of people feel the pressure a lot. The biggest thing is the budget. How much is it gonna cost me?
yeah.
But I love that you are so flexible. And for those of you who are interested on setting up an event, she's your girl. I mean, she just told you she's so flexible with whichever budget you have, she'll make it work, which is key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love
You know,
that.
start there. We're lucky enough to live here in California and downtown LA. Like, there's a lot of stores down there, a lot of vendors. So I always like to pay it forward. I help the mom and pop shop and promote their business because that's their dream and that's their hustle, you
Course,
know, and
yeah.
it's referral based. Then they help me, you know, if I go there often. So it's just a win-win, knowing your vendors and networking and all around customer service, because we wanted to support everyone and
Yeah.
you know. And
What advice would you give to somebody who's just venturing out? Let's say they just finished high school and maybe they're like, I don't want to go to college, or, I just want to get to work. And they're really interested in event planning and creating this, the vision like you were talking about. What do you recommend them to start? Should they start by learning from books or online, or should they go and collaborate with somebody? What do you think would be the best?
I think a great place to start is obviously with social media and
That's true.
start pinging, you know, different coordinators, different events. You want to be, and you also want to be well versed. So you want to have that wheelhouse that you understand not only food, the wine list, your beverages, different venues, floral. I threw myself in, you know, the flower industry as well. And
Love.
it's like you want to learn it all and you want to be hands on. So you can't go wrong getting into any part of that industry and learning from the ground up. So I
Yeah.
think that helps too to
Yes.
understand it all.
You guys heard it from Jen, so yeah, that's a good advice. Thank you for that, Jen.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
I also known you to be a spiritual and a faithful person. And so I wanted to know, how do you combine it in your work and, your self purpose and everything? How do you?
Yeah, so my faith is my number one. Like, that is keeps me grounded, keeps me balanced. I always say that God is my compass. He charges my batteries because I can keep going and going. So it's important for me to make time. I find for myself, like, when I wake up in the morning, you know, is a good time to just meditate. I'm in the shower, I'm talking to God, I'm listening to, you know, maybe podcasts or a sermon or something. But it's also a muscle. Your spirituality is a muscle and we have
True.
to exercise it. It just helps to us to reflect and balance ourselves in this chaotic not only industry but world today. So yeah, it really helps me to just listen to like worship music sometimes. And don't get me wrong, I will be blasting my 50 Cent, my corn, my everything, you know, I love it all, but
I
that
love the
just kind of
diversity.
have to be aware of what I'm feeding myself also, because that's self-love, right? And it's very important. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's great. I love how you always are so caring as a friend, asking me those
Yeah.
deep questions. So thank you.
Yeah, I think we just resonated like instantly. Just our stories, our energies. That was just, you know, something that I think, I don't know, I just took it with me. Like, Siris is forever friend and she's amazing and she's
I didn't
so
pay her to say this.
and she's so creative and she's so patient and she's so eager to learn. I think that, and her work ethic is just phenomenal. And I think that's what resonated with me. She's just about my daughter's age. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's very special.
Yeah, no, we
you
click
know?
really well. We
Mhm.
really click. You're such a giver and lover, and I love that about you.
Yeah.
And the way you always talk about your family and your kids, which you love. You take a lot of pride on your kids, which I love
Yeah.
that about you. And I thank you for sharing.
No, thank you
Yeah,
for
no, that's
bringing that up. Yeah, it's
awesome.
important
Yes.
to me.
Wrapping up this podcast,
I
you wanna
have
talk?
something for Siris. So this is a little something that I picked up for her, and this is just like a little, you know,
Oh,
a
you're
little
so sweet.
gift.
See what I'm talking about, you guys?
A
She's
little
giver.
gift,
Thank
you know,
you.
for your
Look at the
podcast.
detail. I mean, look at the details, guys. It's insane. Like,
Detail is key.
she is the lady to go to. But also, can you share, Jen, while I open this, where can people find you for events?
So they can definitely just reach out to me on my Instagram, and pretty much just referral based, but definitely on my Instagram. can reach out and or my email and email me for inquiries.
What's your ID?
So my ID is Jen Villalpando, or you can email me at, and my last name is so long, so it's V like Victor, ILLALPANDOJ @yahoo.com.
Yes, so you can reach out to her there. I'm gonna definitely tag her on the IG of Siris Says on IG, so you guys can also look for her there and refer. Also, I have one last question, which is the previous guest left, and then you're gonna leave one for the next one.
Okay.
So the
Nervous.
So the previous guest left this question: what's the most embarrassing thing you've done?
Oh my goodness, the most embarrassing thing. Oh my gosh.
That happened to you, I think.
That happened to me. So, I do remember, okay, so this is embarrassing, but and it's a long time ago, but it just has stuck with me because it was horrendous. I was out for my 21st birthday. So I thought, I'm here, it's my birthday. I went out club back then, and I had a few drinks, have my heels on. I think I'm just having a fabulous time and, feeling really good. And I remember I was like, okay, I need to use the restroom. So, I excused myself. I went to the bathroom. I came back out and I'm like, here I am. Like, I'm ready to party. Like, let's go. And I headed on the dance floor. And I think like, oh yeah, I'm just hot and that's, living my best life. And my girlfriend came up behind me. She's like, oh my gosh, Jennifer, you have like the toilet seat thing hanging out of my pants. I was like, oh my God. So that was very embarrassing because I remember, and so to this day, like I always make sure like, okay, there's nothing hanging out of my pants. It was embarrassing, especially because I was on the dance floor. Everybody's just staring at me. They weren't staring at my moves. They were staring at the paper hanging out of my pants.
She's like, I'm eating it.
And yes. And thank God back then there was no cameras or social media.
Oh, thank God.
Because I would have probably been a meme.
You would have been a meme.
So that was, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what question would you leave to the next guest?
Okay, so my question to the next guest who is able to sit here next to Siris, what do you want to be remembered by? What is your legacy you want to leave and be remembered by?
Ooh, that's a deep question. Very nice. I'm gonna go ahead and ask that question to the next one. You keep an eye on the next
I will be waiting to see who gets that question.
And let me open this. I think
so this is once again a gift on like just a little congratulations on your new podcast adventures.
Oh, thank you.
When I saw it, I immediately thought about you. You have to read it.
It says, "Bitch, you got this." It's a candle. Oh, it smells so good.
Because you got this.
Ooh, I love this. It smells so warm and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it owned by women?
It is.
Oh my goodness, yes. I love that. We like to support women. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for being in this podcast and for sharing, a bit of yourself and also giving tips to event planners and people that are interested in that realm. You guys can find her once again on Instagram. She's also venturing in any type of event. So it could be wedding, it could be anything, right? Correct? Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Siris Says. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and drop a like. Share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for more inspiring stories. Until next time, keep chasing those dreams.